Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of RevOps Demos That Don't Suck. I am Matthew Valm, CEO and co-founder of RevOps Co-op, a global community of 10,000 plus folks who love revenue operations from all across the globe. And today we are going to do a RevOps demo that definitely will not suck with the folks over at BoogieBoard. And so this one will be a little bit unique too, because we not only have Kevin from BoogieBoard, but we have one of BoogieBoard's kind of customers and clients who's going to be here kind of talking through how they get value from the BoogieBoard solution. So I'll do some quick introductions of who I've got with me, and then I'll turn it over to them to tell us a little bit more about themselves and the product as well. So I've got Allie Manning, who is the COO at Challenger, said customer client of BoogieBoard. And then I've got Kevin Davis, who is the CEO and co-founder of BoogieBoard as well, which does a lot of amazing and incredible things around territory management and territory planning. But instead of me telling you all about Kevin, all about Allie, what they do, I'm going to turn it over to Kevin first. Kevin, tell us a little bit more about yourself, background professionally, and then maybe tell us about well, one, given that we're kind of the RevOps Co-op community, tell us first about how you met Allie in the first place, how that relationship started, and then tell us why Allie and the folks at Challenger are kind of here, kind of helping you on this demo.
Absolutely. So Kevin Davis, co-founder and CEO of BoogieBoard. My professional background is almost all in direct sales and account management. So through and through salesperson. And then I did move into ops in sort of a later portion of a career before moving into this journey at BoogieBoard. I met Allie, ironically, in the original RevOps Co-op. I suppose it's still the original RevOps Co-op, but it was like over a year ago. Allie posted something about territory design, territory management, and I was looking to talk to anybody I could on that topic when I was getting this thing going. And so yeah, Allie and I have been fast friends ever since.
That's awesome. All right, Allie, give us a lowdown on yourself. Anything Kevin failed to mention?
I don't know if we're friends necessarily. Just teasing. My name's Allie Manning, COO of Challenger. Started as the VP of RevOps at Challenger. Have spent time leading customer success teams and operations teams and sales teams in my past. And to Kevin's point, we met on the co-op and I posed a spicy question and he answered and slid into the DMs and ended up, he was playing me, right? Like he was doing the long game, making me a customer. He was covert selling. I think it's called dark social, right?
Yep.
So
yep.
Here we are.
That's awesome. Because community at its finest.
Yeah, he delivered. Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, thank you both for being here and for kind of doing this demo. So I guess first let's start with, I always like to start with the problem now that you told us a little bit about how you all met. But obviously we're talking about territory management, territory design. I know both of you have your own direct experience with those areas, Allie on the RevOps side, Kevin on kind of the sales, account management, account executive side. So maybe Kevin, first talk about kind of problems that you saw there around territory management, territory planning, territory design. What are those things that folks in revenue operations or ops like Allie are maybe experiencing today? And then from there, we can get into the solution and how you all solve for those things. But tell us, what's the pain points today that y'all are solving for?
When I was in sales, the pain was really acute in a number of ways. If you didn't have the right book of business, the right territory, you didn't feel like you could hit your number, and you wouldn't trust the process of how those things were given to you because it was generally opaque. There were these like crazy delays, and so like my friends might leave a company because they thought they had a bad territory. That was totally normal. I would do the same if I was going to interview for a sales job. One of the first questions I would ask would be, what's the territory? What's the account list look like? And then when I moved into operations, I realized that it wasn't just a bunch of like, evil operations folks behind a spreadsheet trying to do me harm. There's like a really hard math problem going on that those people are trying to solve to distribute books in a way that's equitable, helps them grow, focuses on the right customers, drives revenue ultimately. And so I hadn't given it kind of enough credit from a problem standpoint, but I realized, it was a really big quantitative problem that affected a number of different areas of the business, not just sales, not just operations. Marketing had a hand in this, finance, and so I became pretty passionate about it, and ultimately tried to start a company around it.
That's awesome. And so, it sounds like one obviously impacted you on the sales side, right? In terms of hiring, keeping good salespeople around, and then two, on the kind of the ops or the rev ops side, just the management of it all, right? The complexity around the math and how things get distributed evenly, what's fair, all of those things. And maybe Allie, maybe that's something you can speak to as well. I mean, you mentioned that you all met talking about some kind of questions, topics on kind of territory management, territory design. So what are those things that you were experiencing firsthand, maybe at Challenger, that BoogieBoard is kind of now solving for? We'll get into the solution side later, but what are those things that you experienced kind of firsthand?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to tell you the whole story. Challenger is a sales training company, and we have and do a ton of research. And I like to think of Challenger as kind of the crystal ball of what's top of mind for salespeople and what issues they're facing. And in 2021, we did some research that illuminated a really interesting trend that I think we all kind of take for granted, which is customer indecision. What we're finding is that the way people do B2B buying nowadays is that they very rarely have 6 vendors that they're comparing, right? They've done their research, they come to the vendor they want, and it's essentially your sellers to lose. So we kind of validated that. And for years, Challenger said our advice was like, challenge the status quo. But what we realized via this new research is that no, you have to now overcome a second enormous hurdle, which is inaction. And we call it FOMO, the fear of messing up. So being the nerds that we were and continue to be, we use this research to calculate the cost of inaction to our own business, the COI, if you will. And that number was big enough for us to really take note and pause. 2021, coming out of the pandemic, the economy was shrinking. We knew that every single customer at bat we had to be purposeful. And that led us down this path of thinking through our geographic territories. And I think Challenger is fairly modern. Most companies are still doing geographic territories. And we knew we had to do something big. And that big thing we did was moving to named accounts. And we did that via a partner called Rev.ai. And that ultimately left us with an account list of 6,000 accounts.
That's a lot.
It was an enormous amount. And
Yeah.
The good news was that 1,200 of them were completely invisible to us. We had no idea who they were. So it was great. And yes, we could have done the regular thing that you do with territory planning. We could have looked at their ARR and their number of employees and where their headquarters are based. But we wanted to be much more scientific about it. And that's where BoogieBoard came in. It was a way to kind of counterbalance the risk of the spray and pray geographic over-reliance on inbound, right? We all know, and we hate to admit it, but sometimes you have a strong seller in a weak territory or a weak seller in a strong territory. And it's just kind of a matter of where they ended up after the pandemic.
Yeah.
So this transition was very purposeful and very strategic.
Yep. That's great. And so it makes tons of sense why you would need help, because again, a lot of the the thinking around territory management, territory design is on those kind of those typical kind of data points that you mentioned, right? Zip codes, states, geographies, all of that stuff. And so so Kevin, I guess getting into the solution. So it sounds like those are some of the problems that Allie and the folks at Challenger were faced with. And so why did they, I guess from your perspective, why did they decide to work with you? How do you solve for some of those problems? And then Allie, once kind of Kevin gets through, if you want to chime in on kind of how BoogieBoard helped you there as well, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, I think the problems that Allie talked about tend to be ubiquitous. Sales organizations specifically really want to focus, but tend to have trouble doing so. They seem to be overwhelmed with this like plethora of data that are available now about accounts. It could be intent data, firmographic data. You could find out if someone's hiring. You have all these different things, and all the companies we talk to have 9 different enrichment providers, and they don't know how to build it into a strategy. What that ultimately coalesces into, which is like an abstraction of what Allie was saying, is who is my ideal customer and what is their profile, or who are they in the case that we have multiple. So am I just assigning accounts based on a simple score, a simple industry field, or what have you? Or am I truly helping my sellers to focus and being efficient, with my coverage? And so what we built fundamentally is a suggestion engine. We take all of that data that you provide us with, your prioritized accounts, and then you input your goals for territory design. So instead of saying, should I move Minnesota from the Midwest to the West, you can be a little bit more strategic about what you're actually trying to do, and distribute things equitably, have different focus on different data points. We change the way that you think about geography. We can auto carve maps, but we try to get people away from that and think more about time zones or just limiting the distance between accounts for sellers. And so the way it manifests is, Allie and her team sent us over their new TAM. They sent us over their ICP, which we work with them to kind of program, and then we understand what their goals are. And because we built a suggestion engine that can do the number crunching for them, we can push out a scenario that says, hey, design territories this way. Here should be the account distribution. And her team are able to override that. They're able to say, no, let's tweak this goal and do it again. And it allows you to get a number of iterations near instantaneously. And therefore, the process becomes a lot faster and easier to socialize with the other members of your team.
And so, Allie, before working with Kevin and the team at BoogieBoard, what were y'all doing? Like, was territory management something you were doing in spreadsheets? Like, you have a whole bunch of like Google Sheets hanging out there with like pivot tables, and if you like ran one scenario, would it take a couple days to like run scenario number 2? Like, what was I'm curious on what the before picture looked like.
I would love to tell you about it. I'll take a couple of deep breaths.
I
wish, look, it wasn't even as sophisticated as that. It was straight up, you get Minnesota, you get Montana, you get, like, that was it.
Yeah.
And then it
Every
was
state was
incumbent
created
upon,
equal.
yeah, I mean, more or less. And then we would ask the sellers to go out and research their territory TAM, and frankly, guess who to go after. Like, and it's no wonder that people go after the companies that they've heard of. Right? Of course you do, because that's more interesting. But that's not necessarily the right customer. And we don't want to place these big outbound bets if the person on the other end of the line, once we do finally get them, right? How hard is it nowadays to be a customer that we can actually take through the entire pipeline? Yep.
And so then you started working with BoogieBoard. Kevin described the solution a little bit, but what was your experience like in working with them on the customer side? How did that before picture that you just laid out for us change?
Well, it changed tremendously. I think what was unique about our scenario is that when we did run the TAM, it was like a lady who goes in for her ultrasound and the doctor's like, oh my gosh, it's twins. Like, it was that. we had 2 ICPs. We didn't know, but we do. We have 2.
And we love them both equally.
Yeah, we do. But that said, they need to be treated differently because they're both individuals, right? Like any good parent. So, so what was interesting is that, like, look, if this had been like year 3 of this process, we would have specific sellers for ICP1, specific sellers for ICP2, playbooks, messaging, all the stuff built out. But because this is our first year and we're approaching it very much like an experiment, we wanted Kevin and his team and BoogieBoard to divide the ICP1 and 2 amongst the sellers equally. So we ended up giving everybody a kind of dual book. And then slowly what we're finding is that some sellers are phenomenal with twin number 1 and some are shit at twin number 2.
Yeah.
So like as we move into next year, we'll actually pair the BoogieBoard divvy up list with seller skills, right? We're big believers in seller training and seller skills. How can we marry the two? So you always have data coming in about the customers, but it's rare that you actually can feed in data about the sellers as well. So we're kind of experimenting, we're seeing what works, and it's fun.
That's awesome. And yeah, like you said, that's a good surprise to have.
Yeah.
Is that you have 2, right?
Yeah.
That's awesome. And so Kevin, maybe you can describe then on the call it the product side. What does the solution look like? What's the thing that people like? What's the thing that Allie, others can quote unquote buy from you? Is there a digital product, services, mix of the two? Tell us a little bit about the solution.
Yeah, so we offer a managed service offering. So it's a consulting experience, and then we use our technology in the background that we don't have generally available to the public yet. And so it's very specific. It's available on our website, which we'll share about sort of the process for going through it. And the first thing we do is we ingest your account list, your TAM. We try to understand your TAM, and we manifest that into a visual that kind of rallies all the stakeholders around the problem together. We hold a workshop session. I mentioned it called kind of an ICP workshop. The goal is to really figure out how do we want to use the data attributes that are available on the account to ultimately implement that ICP strategy into a territory design scenario. And then we ask people to start designing scenarios. So usually just on a Slack channel, we have a format. They say, design this scenario. And then we push back an account list with a new account owner in that same reporting structure so that you can see how the metrics have improved. You can also see how much change has happened, right? We're kind of talking about a new territory design for most of this example, but if you're talking about like an existing client book of business, you're going to be looking at it differently. You're going to be looking at, MRR, and also please don't change, relationships between accounts. So those types of granular things that you're going to use to make decisions, we make them available. We ask you to provide feedback, and then we just keep the loop rolling and give you as many scenarios as you need to get to an answer.
Awesome. And so obviously, Allie, the folks at Challenger are our customers. Any other, customers or logos that you can kind of reference, and then just in general, who's typically a good fit for the BoogieBoard product solution?
Sure. Some other ROC members that I think on our website that we can plug are Built-in, Spec-It, Daily Pay, a few others. It's interesting because going through this exercise, we talk so much about helping our clients to focus, and so we figure we should be like really good at that. But it's a journey for us too, right? Like we're a changing company all the time, so I think it's good to remember that. For us, it tends to be they need to have a level of complexity that this is a problem, right? If you have 4 reps and you need to assign accounts, this might not be enough of a headache for you to work with us. So there's generally a minimum threshold of salespeople there. But then the next qualification is usually leadership. If they have someone with an operations background or a sales leader who is thinking with a data-driven mindset that is making the decisions about the technology that they use and the strategies that they implement, they tend to be a good fit for BoogieBoard.
Yeah. So sounds like folks maybe like Allie, who, we're VPs of RevOps now in a COO type of position and looking to make some data-driven changes to drive the business forward.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. And then, so managed services type of offering around territory planning, territory management. At least in terms of getting started and like you mentioned, workshops, some of this other stuff, how quickly or maybe how long is a typical engagement in working with you? And are they like ongoing relationships? Are they more like one-time kind of project-based sort of work? What do those look like?
Yeah. So we have two styles of engagements. One, which Ali kindly named for us, is our TurboTax style engagement, right? Just like your taxes, territory design is the thing that you look forward to every year. And it's sort of this big batch process where you grab your coffee and you need a friend. And so we're your friend for that period of time. And then we say goodbye until you come back with a box of receipts the next year, and then we cut it for you again.
Yep.
The model that we expect people to continue to move towards over time is a yearly model where you're on a monthly subscription. We think that that's going to be the case because territory design generally doesn't stop at the end of the year, right? A rep leaves, you need to change territories, your ICP changes, your product changes, sales leadership changes. And so we love to partner with clients for the long term, but we also recognize that sometimes this is a one-shot deal at the end of the year, and we're happy to accommodate both.
Yep, makes sense. And what can you share on, I mean, you talked a little bit about how you kind of structure those engagements. Anything you can share on like pricing or how you charge? Like, it sounds like maybe like if you do the longer term sort of engagement, those might be a subscription or, kind of monthly or annual sort of fee, assuming the TurboTax model is more a one-time fee. Do those things vary depending on complexity? What do folks kind of need to consider on the economic side?
Yeah, on the economic side, I think it's just, we do it based on the amount of, we call it a territory, right? But it could just be account list, book of business, however many of those you have.
Yeah.
That's the kind of quantitative model that drives the price. And then all of our stuff is publicly available on our website if you want to see how we're priced for either the short-term model or the longer term.
Yep. And how should folks look at ROI? And I'm curious, Kevin, maybe you answer first, and then Ali, I'll be curious how you answer that question as well. But what's the ROI of the BoogieBoard kind of product? How should people be looking at that?
Yeah, when we started, I was really eager to constantly measure how quickly we could do this, how many scenarios we could get done ASAP, how much time we could save everyone, and then of course you think about the hours and you drop some cost to that. You assume some sort of intelligence that by focusing your sales team better, maybe your capacity planning is better. Maybe you close one more deal, maybe you close two more deals. I actually think the thing that we've seen the most benefit from, which is a softer thing, which is a little bit harder to sell on, is the collaboration aspect. And that's, operations teams can now stand up and say, this is how territories are being designed. We've invested in an algorithm to help do it in an equitable way. We're going to continue to improve this model over time. So this is important to us. Sellers can create a feedback loop. And so we think it's more of introducing sort of a structural business strategy that makes everyone feel a little bit better, which is a little bit harder to quantify. But that's kind of been the main thing lately.
Yeah, I mean, if you talk about the job of anyone in RevOps, it's alignment across the entire go-to-market team, and that includes you, right? The RevOps person. So yeah, I like that. I see that. So yeah, Ali, what's your take on that question? How do you look at the ROI of territory management, kind of product or solution at Challenger?
I definitely want to kind of double click on what Kevin said about the feedback loop. I think it's become kind of an assumption that territories are something that happen to you as a seller.
Yeah.
Using BoogieBoard allows us to kind of bring the sellers into the process. If they go through their territories and like 5 are duds, we now have a reason to say, fill out the close loss reason. It's important because it will mean your territory gets richer and better next year or the next time we cut it. And I think the other kind of like side benefit is that I did think of territories as a once a year thing, mostly because like nobody else, you can't handle it more often. It's like too horrible. But now we can use that feedback on an ongoing basis. Like I'm going to call Kevin, you heard me talk to Kevin yesterday. We're going to recut our territories. It's mid-year. We're going to do it again. Like, it's not a horrible ask. It's easy. I just have to call Kevin. And I think, like, speaking to the model of how BoogieBoard has chosen to go to market with this kind of managed service model, I'm an ops girl. I love a bit of software. Procurement, 12-month contracts, upfront payments, like all of that stuff disappears. And I kind of, to be honest with you, forgot how easy it was to buy stuff when it's not attached to a 12-month contract. It was so quick. I think we might have paid with a credit card. Like, it was phenomenally easy. And Kevin, like, your goal to be quick, nailed it. Like, it was 3 days. It was 3 days. It would have taken us weeks, and then there would have been questions like fairness and this and that and why this and why that. We had it all done in 3 days.
I'm thinking back to, or I'm just looking at again, you use the analogy of the TurboTax model, and I don't know about you too, but just do my taxes once a year, because why would you want to do it any more than once? And whenever those dates approach, you kind of you get close and you're like, oh man, how are things going to shake out this year? Like, what are they going to look like? And you're like, you never know. Like, for example, this year we were pleasantly surprised. The year before we were not pleasantly surprised, and I don't know what we did differently or the same, but and like, you can feel that way with territories as well.
Like, imagine if the government was like, if you do your taxes twice a year, every year, and you do them well, we will give you discounts. It's almost like that. It's like we get more money by doing it more often. So
Yep. Yeah.
I don't know.
And,
call the White House.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. If only they would listen. But but no, that's awesome. And I love that. I love that analogy. And so maybe I guess last question, kind of, Kevin, if there's folks listening, they're like, hey, I hate territories. I dread doing them once a year. When I do them, they take weeks. I'm doing them in spreadsheets, or I've got some very generic way of distributing accounts. I want to improve. I want something better. How do folks get in touch with you? What's the best way to reach out, get a hold of you, drop the website, LinkedIn URL, whatever you got? What's the best way for people to contact you?
Yeah, if you're watching this, just slag me in the RevOps Club, and we'll set something up. We'll keep it simple. If you want to do it the traditional way, we've got the form on our website. One of the founders will be in touch with you no matter what, quickly, and we'll talk about trying to give you a friend through that process for sure.
Awesome. And website is boogieboard.ai, is that right?
BoogieBoard.ai, yes.
Awesome. And as you can see, they've got probably the coolest, most colorful kind of swag and shirts around. So yeah, that is also speaks volumes to the way that they do business. They're fun to work with, fun to hang out with. So we were just talking about this before, got to meet Kevin in person. We did the Wisconsin thing of grab some cheese curds together and had a good conversation over lunch. So at a minimum, hit Kevin up, chat with him, whether it's about territories or his love for cheese curds. There's tons of knowledge that the man can drop.
Cheese curds, Succession, Green Bay Packers. How to beat the Texas Heat. I'm very available to you.
Yeah. The Renaissance man.
Right. Yeah, just a modern guy.
Yeah.
Matt, can you just say Challenger one more time?
Do I say it with a Wisconsin accent, Allie? Oh,
Yeah.
All right. Well, what is it about the way that I say Challenger?
Challenger.
Okay. All right. The only other Wisconsin accent that I still have is if you ever hear me apologize, and I have to say I'm sorry. That's where I carry the O a little bit too. So
I think that's endearing, though. I
was going to say that's adorable. That's adorable.
Yeah, it's adorable.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. All right. That's good. I will embrace my Wisconsanness. I tried really hard when we moved out of the state to get rid of my Wisconsin accent, but now that it's, I guess, back, I'm just gonna embrace it.
It's going to come
huge.
back in style. It's going to come back
Yeah.
in style. Everything does.
Yep. Awesome. All right. Well, Kevin, Allie, thank you all very much for doing the demo, for dropping some knowledge and talking everything from Wisconsin accents to territories to cheese curds today. So it was awesome to chat with y'all. But with that, I will let y'all run. To everyone watching, thank you for tuning in and watching as well. And I will see y'all on the flip side. So take care, y'all.
Awesome. Thanks, Matt. Thanks, Allie.
Bye.
Bye.